Away we go. Ha ha! Tally Bally Ho. Oh, actually feels smaller than it is. That's good. Well, hello, good morning. Welcome to my review of the new Triumph Bonneville Bobber. And MCN made the gag. Well, actually, no, it was Bike Magazine. Bike Magazine made the gag that bobber sounds like something floating in a swimming pool that you don't want to see. But however, that's called a floater. Sorry, Bike Magazine, that's a floater. Bobber makes me think of bobbing for apples, dunking witches, trying to see if they're real or not. Yeah, that sort of thing. So it's quite nice. Whee! Right, well, first impressions. Mirrors are excellent. Position, not too bad at all. It's very street twin-like position, really. Feet forwards a little bit. Just behind the knee. Knees are up a little bit, but my legs aren't, just a little bit over 90 degrees. But the ease of riding this and the flickability, it's extraordinary. It looks like a nice long bike, but it defies that by being flickable. Really easy. Light, easy. The position, it's where your hands fall. It's a bit like a cruiser in the respect that you've got to keep your back upright rather than hunched, because otherwise it'd be a bit uncomfortable. But actually that aids you leaning your shoulder in nicely, because you can just lean over. Because you're higher up, you can lean. I don't really know how to explain that. Anyway, it's a very cold day. It's 2 degrees with low cloud. So we probably won't get some good views of Ivanhoe Beacon, but and there's a lovely throaty roar from these, what are supposed to be sawn-off pea shooter pipes, but of course they're bespoke-made exhaust pipes. But that's the look, and nice throaty. That's nice. I like that. That's good. It's throaty like a good, like a Speedmaster sounds with Predator pipes on. If you know what that means, if you know what that sounds like. But first impressions, very good. So, one dial, but that's to help with the clean looks. And that depends on where you're sitting. I've got the seat right back, but if you sit right forward, you can angle it like that and go, hello! So, obviously you can tighten that. They just kept it fairly stiff so that I could adjust it. But it's like one of those bicycle seat post clips that you fold over to tighten. That's the clip underneath, so you can adjust that and then fix it to where you want it all the time. Seat adjustment's a little bit more tricky. I shall go through that in the walk around. Obviously it's a single-seater motorbike, 1200cc, parallel twin, liquid cooled. Huzzah! It is well, it's not detuned, it's retuned. So it has 78 brake horsepower and 79 pounds per foot of torque. Whereas thrusty is a bit more, has a bit more poke. I think it's 97 brake and 82 pounds per foot. But it suits this bike very nicely. I've got the digital revs going, but you don't have to have those there all the time. That's changed with the info button here. So you've got the odometer, it's done 20 miles. There's trip 1, trip 2, instantaneous miles to the gallon, average miles to the gallon, and range to go. It's a 9-litre tank, clock, and back to revs. Gear indicator and a fuel gauge. That's it. That's all you need. Indicator arrows on the bottom of this gauge, and neutral and main beam. What more do you want? The engine management lights and everything and ABS and stuff are in the actual dial itself. But it's nicely done. It's nice, small, looks well made. So apart from it being a bloody cold day and the roads, well, they're dry, but they look a bit greasy in places. It's a nice day to be riding. Anything but this bike makes the day even better. Huzzah! Not a great fan of this colour, but there'll be people out there who are. My favourite one was the two-tone green and silver one. That's absolutely gorgeous. Fell in love with that. Although there's a very nice sort of sparkly ruby red. That's a nice colour too. They all come with black mud guards at the rear, so that doesn't change much. It's more the tanks. Pretty good shove there. Pretty good shove indeed. Pootling along in third gear. Revs are what? Just under 3,000 RPM. Anything coming? No. Huzzah! Oh dear. I think it redlines around 7,000 RPM. But yeah, 8 valve, parallel twin. And the seat is very comfortable. A lot of the journalists said this. They said the seat was very nice. But yes, you have to ride it to know. But yeah, it feels great. Love it. Let's go up there, shall we? Da, 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 da. Oh, it's a ride-by-wire throttle. But that wasn't jerky at all. I was worried because I was leant over going around the roundabout, slippery, greasy surface. And actually, that's nice. That is very nice indeed. I'm not going to lean it too far. And I've heard that ground clearance is a bit of a problem when you're pushing it. But I'm just riding fairly swiftly. Not pushing it, but yeah, riding fairly swiftly. And it's a nice ride. Considering it's got that floating rear seat and the monoshock that's totally unadjustable at the back, it's riding these bumps quite nicely. It's a bumpy road, but it's not jarring me. I can feel the bumps, definitely, but it doesn't hurt. It's sort of nicely dampened. Nicely dampened. Yay! Whee. Yeah, sorry that the view isn't going to be very good, I'm afraid. It's not a very nice day for it. But it was the first opportunity I had to ride it, and who am I to say no, hey? Who am I to say no? Now, the weird thing is, I always, when I'm riding a bike, my feet are on the pegs, yeah? I move them forward to change gear or use the rear brake, and then I move the balls of my feet back onto the pegs. Now, that's obviously a stance that you do on a sort of a naked sports bike, something like that. Now, if I do that on this, the heels of my boots actually rest on the, I don't know if you can see that, on the exhaust, you see, so I actually have to keep my feet forward, which is more cruisery in that respect. Oh. That's a nice bit of grunt. That's a nice bit of grunt. Grunt. Grunt, 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 grunt. Yeah, light clutch. It's not the slip assist clutch that you get on the smaller Bonnevilles, the 900s, but it is light enough. It's a cable, it's not a clutch, but I believe it's a wet clutch at the engine. It's got some great pickup there. It just sounds rorty, like it. Yes. Filtering, filtering, filtering along. Filtering, filtering. This is my filtering song. Oh yeah. Yes, it filters, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the bobber filters. Oh yeah. Oh, they're nice. See the pegs? They're good. I like the Triumph in the pegs. They're quite fat pegs, actually. And this is the side stand. Nice and accessible. Haha! It just goes. I mean, it's not biblical performance, but it's very usable, easy performance. I like it. Like it a lot. Ha! Woohoo! It's just a little bit addictive to just go hooning. Now the brakes, quite a bit have been talked about with these brakes. They're all right. They weren't nothing to write home about. You've just got the single disc on the front, but that's mostly for cosmetic reasons, I think. Single disc on the front, it's fine. Rear disc on the back, fine. And I'm just using it here, and it brings off the speed nicely. It's not, hasn't got much bite to it, but then again, it's only done 20 miles or so, so it needs to bed in, obviously, new brakes and all that jazz. Gosh, that's fun. Ah, look at this lovely countryside. Look at that. Yes. But for pottering, I'm still totally comfortable. This is lovely. Still totally and utterly comfortable. This time, rather than going up Ivanhoe Beacon, I'm taking you up Woburn Abbey. I am indeed. Rather than the beacon, I'm up the Abbey. Ooh, yeah. You're right, the brakes are good if you really give them a good squeeze. Like most women, really, or men, whatever your poison is. Ha ha ha. Right. Right, well, everybody, now it's time for the walk around. Okay, and welcome to the walk around, everybody. So it's a 1200 Bonneville Bobber. And it's a 1200 high torque engine from the T120 with a little bit of a twist. And of course, you can see that's where the ignition key goes. So that is an old-fashioned steering look with the same key, which is nice, because the old classics had a separate little key, which was annoying. So, prices then. 10,500 of your best British pounds. It's probably about $12,500 I'd have thought these days with current exchange rates. You can add 125 for this grey model, or the red model, or £300 for the two-tone. That's the green and silver one, which I like. So you're looking at 10,800 for a standard bike with the two-tone paint. Tubular steel twin cradle frame. Now this is a unique frame to the Bobber. It isn't the same as the T120. So it's very similar. It's got all the Bonneville DNA. It's a 9-litre tank, as mentioned, and it should get a tested 56 miles to the gallon combined cycle and top speed of 120. Now I haven't done that, but close enough. So I reckon that's probably a fair shout, that. And the colours are black, red, grey, or green and silver, which is the green and silver one I've mentioned. Its availability is now, February. Huzzah! We have got a monoshock 77mm travel, no adjustment rear suspension. And front suspension is a 41mm fork, 90mm of travel, no adjustment. So it's as it comes. But having ridden it, I've told you, it's all right. Yeah, can't complain. It deals with quite severe small bumps very nicely. It's well dampened. Might have something to do with the tyres as well. You never know, because these are bespoke Avon Cobra tyres for the Bonneville Bobber itself. Here is the new Triumph Bonneville Bobber 1200. I do like the way that rear mudguard / fender hugs the rear wheel. And apologies to those who want to carry a pillion. Not going to happen, I'm afraid. There we go. So, let's start at the very beginning. Now, let's start here. That's what a lot of journalists have been on about. That is a single front disc brake. It's a twin pot. And it does the job. I mean, you're not going to push this bike. If you push this bike hard, you're a bit of a silly knob, because it's not designed to be pushed, and that brake is more than adequate. If you're going to push it, you probably do want a bit more bite, but there'll be lots of aftermarket stuff for that. Now, the light, it's a bulb light, so it's not the same as the T120 or the Thruxton. It's on all the time. And all you've got is this switch here that flicks it main beam, back to low beam, back to main beam. And the indicators, they are a bulb, but you can get the LED ones if you want. So, the finish is very nice. The forks, well, some people have said the forks look spindly and thin. They're adequate, they work the job, and they go with the idea of a Bobber being a chopped-down version of another bike, slimmer and lighter. So, if it helps with the weight, which is 228 kilograms dry, claimed, so you can add probably 15 kilograms for make it wet. So you're looking at around 240 kilograms, just over. But it feels nice and light and flickable, I like it. If you haven't seen my other videos of the new Bonneville ranges, you won't know, but it's liquid cooled. And look, there is the radiator, neatly nestled between the tubular frame. And these pipes, these aren't double skinned, so they probably will discolour, so be prepared for that. These exhaust clamp fins do dissipate a little bit of heat, but not a lot. They're mostly there for style, but they do work a little bit, as do the cylinder head fins. They're not actually necessary, but they will help keep the engine cool. Speaking of keeping it cool, or not, as the case may be, the catalytic converter is hidden there, behind that silver shield. And it goes in through there in the pipe. So, although the pipes, advertised as cut off pea shooter pipes, which there aren't, they're bespoke, but there we go. Does look like a straight through pipe, but that's how they've nestled the catalytic converter down there. Now, that's removable with a cross pipe, which reduces weight, about 8 kilograms of weight, and heat, because all that heat from the catalytic converter comes up under the engine. So another way of making your engine a bit more efficient and sound better, remove that. Huzzah! Anyway, so you've got some nice engine embellishers here on the engine cases. Now this is a sort of a brushed chromate finish. I've got these on my Thruxton R. One whisper of the word salt, and they corroded a little bit. Picture here. Mildly pissed off because they're not covered under warranty. And they're 250 quid to replace. So I might just get the black ones instead put on my bike. So that is a warning that those engine cases, if you are going to take this bike out in all weather, they're not covered under warranty. You can change that oil filler cap. And I like this actually, it's a nice touch. Because the battery is on the other side, in this position, the coolant expansion tank is actually hidden under this sprocket cover at the same time. It's a clever little bit. So you've got that little cap there that you undo. You can change that for a black one or an embellished one, and these faux carburetors, which are actually fuel injection throttle bodies, you can change the cap on here as well. I have done on my Thruxton. But just nice quality touches where it's got Triumph on the spark plug lead there, the HT lead, and it's nicely done. And you can change the swing arm pivot embellisher there. And these pipes, let's get close, shall we? They are standard with a tiny little aperture. But they do look the nuts, they do look the business, but you can get the Vance & Hines upgrade if you so wish. And here's the much talked about monoshock. Huzzah! So it's all a part of this cage. It's what Triumph called a cage. Now actually it's what's pretty much been on the Harley Davidson Softail Slim, but a slightly different guise. I don't think that's a horizontal shock on the Harley Davidson. It's not a new thing that Triumph have done, but it means they've been able to do this floating seat affair, and with this space here being empty, without worrying about suspension too much, and because it used to be a fixed tail and a spring on the seat, but this is obviously much more comfortable and therefore also much safer on the road because you've got proper suspension rather than a back wheel bouncing around a bit like a fixed rear axle on an American muscle car. So to change the seat, this seat is on this sort of tongue here. If you look underneath, can you see underneath there? I don't know if that's focused, but anyway, see under there. What you have to do, it's quite a nice seat, it's a nice dip there, keeps you in, hugs you in nicely there, hugs you in. What you have to do is you have to undo this bolt, this sort of shaft comes out, undo that, tilt it up or take it out, and then there are two bolts under here. And then you sort of move it from one there. It's not infinitely adjustable, it doesn't slide on a clamp affair, but there's a few positions. So you can either have it down and back, or up and forwards, along that, I'm going to call it a tongue, because it looks a bit like a tongue. There you go, see? So that's that affair. Now for me, I'd like to chop this a little bit more. I'd like the lights and number plate to be a much neater, smaller affair at the back of here, so that the lines aren't spoilt so much. But again, it's a matter of being a tart about that sort of thing, really. Chain drive, obviously. 6-speed, but it's got traction control, which is switchable offable. Switchable offable. Switch offable. And ABS, which isn't. But you're not going to go off-road on it, really. Probably not. I would, but yeah, no, you aren't. There's the battery there. There's the other exhaust pipe. There's the tiny little linkage for the gears. Now, riding along, someone was saying that it's quite a clunk into gear, but I haven't noticed that with this. Maybe I'm changing gear faster, so I don't really think about it. But it hasn't become apparent when I'm riding it, so maybe it's okay. And there's that peculiar bend on the side stand. Works nicely. It's weird to try and get the side stand back up again, but when you're trying to reach for it to put it down, it's absolutely fine. But it's all customizable. You can get these black fake air intake grills. Coming up to the dash, there's the key placement, pretty cool. Some people like it, some people don't. Whatever. I think it's pretty cool. It's a bit cruisery. But it means that this bit up here is cleaner. Ignore my GoPro, that's not normally on one of these, you know. So, turning it on. Ding! So you've got traction control light, traction control warning light, engine warning light, ABS light, oil light, petrol light, and engine temperature light. So you've got everything you might need there. Here you've got the cutout switch plus starter, which is the new sort of speed triple knob. Standard cast brake reservoir, so you don't need to change that to a sportier affair or not. Hazard lights and mode changer. So mode, you can go from mode to rain, and the way to do that is either stationary like this or on the roll, clutch in, throttle off. Okay, so that's how you do it on the roll. On this side, that's all that mode button changes. On this side, you've got the information button here. I've already discussed the lights on and off. Info button there. So you start off with the odometer, it's done 37 miles. That's trip 1, trip 2, instantaneous miles to the gallon, average miles to the gallon. Now I reset it at the start of my ride, so I've done 44 miles to the gallon, and I've been hooning a bit, haven't I? So that's not bad going, actually. You've got the fuel gauge as well. There's your range to go, clock, and RPM, traction control on or off, and you hold the info button down to change it to off or back on again. So you can do burnouts or maybe even a wheelie, I don't know. So there we go, back to odometer. You have the gear selector and the petrol gauge. And that's it, keep it simple, keep it nice and clean. And that's what Bob has done with this, they've tried to keep it clean lines, nice and simple. 4 adjusters on the clutch lever. Again, I like black, I just love black levers, so I'd change that myself. And 5 adjustments on the front brake lever. Now, I just talked about the lines. I just talked about the lines of this, but also how they've tried to tidy it all up. So look, just like on the T120s, the T100, the Street Cup, the Street Twin, Thruxton, oh god, Thruxton R. If you look through it, they've kept it all clean. They've tidied up a lot of the pipes and leads and hidden them all, and it's kept it nice and clean. Lovely bike. I would get one if it didn't have a similar engine to mine. But if I was just after one bike, and this was my style, and I wasn't so infatuated with my Thruxton R, I'd get this. Look at those black wheel rims, aren't they lovely too? The black indicators just look a bit big, but they are cruisery in style. I would get smaller ones if I could. I'd probably get the Thruxton ones put on it. But otherwise, they're just tiny little embellishes. And the mirrors are in a really good position, and they don't stick out too far. I just did some filtering, because they're more upright than the standard Thruxton ones that stick out sideways. Nice narrow front tyre. Haven't had an issue with that, as you've seen. It's wet and greasy roads. And the rear tyre, I think, is a 160. And again, no real issues with that. But it's a nice bike. Exhaust test. Huzzah! Alright. So as you can see, it sounds nice on the burble. Sorry, as you can hear, it sounds nice on the burble, but that's lovely. Just a nice growl. Love it. Okay, well, back to the riding. that's where I'd normally change, probably about 4,500. Bit vibey around 5. 6. 6, 8. 6, 9 is the rev limiter. That's going some. That's good. That's good. Oh, yeah. Well, it goes all right, doesn't it? Right, time for some fast corners. Let's see how it handles. Oh, that just turned and dipped in beautifully. That was really easy. That really dipped in nicely there. Very simple. Oh, look at that. Yeah, simple. Barely any lean at all, but very... This is a fair speed, isn't it? Let's face it. Slow down. Right, so that's a comfortable speed. As you can see, clear road, safe, 80 miles an hour, comfortable. I could sit like this for quite a while in this position, even if my body is being a bit of an air scoop. Oh yes, that's nice. Oh, I do like these corners. They're good fun on my thrusty. Alright, here we go. That's it. That is nice. Right, brake. Change down. Third. Yeah, that's good. So smooth. Oh. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. That's the back passage of Woburn Abbey, everybody. The back passage. This is quite enjoyable. It is enjoyable, and it's so easy to ride. Where the T100 is easy to ride because it's light and flickable, because these bars high up, sit in position. I'm 6'1", everybody. 200 pounds. That's just under 15 stone. About 92 kilograms. And my legs aren't cramped. I'm not sitting too tall. It's nice. The front wheel, although it is actually sticking out a bit at the front, it feels like it's tucked under the handlebars, just the way it's performing and handling. So I rather like it. It's just very easy to ride. It's not as easy as the 900s because they've got slip assist clutch and stuff, torque assist or whatever Triumph want to call it this week. And I'm having, let's see, the clutch I'm grabbing with the whole fist, but the braking, front brake, yep, 2 fingers, it's there, it's nice, it's starting to get a bit better. But there's power from, or torque, oh fuck it, oomph. There's oomph from, there's no behind me, right. So let's see what happens. So let's go down to 2,000 RPM and go. Instant, yeah, more feeding through, peaks at around 5,000 RPM. Good, nice. Very nice. Hey, it's good, isn't it? It's good. We'll get on to the raised lettering in a minute because I have a thing about that in a positive way. Just waved at a rival Triumph dealership's technician. It's like, God, that's a bobber. What's he doing on a bobber? That's a bobber. Right you are, dear. It is indeed a bobber. Oh, and the other thing is you can get heated grips. You can get heated grips. This one doesn't, unfortunately, but it's the T121, so the button will be there, just there, for the heated grips, and it'll probably have 2 or 3 levels of heating. Okay, brake hard. Yeah, that's fine. That's with 2 fingers. Sometimes 4 is too much. Wow, 70 in second. That's pretty good. Let's try again, shall we? Stand still and go. Well, what do you want? It's not lightning fast, but it certainly has a turn of speed. Woohoo! Ha-ha! It's fairly intoxicating in second, just to... Bah! Even on greasy roads. It's such an easy bike to ride, and if the looks are for you, I love all this brushed goldy brass bit in the middle. That's just caught the sun. Not really the sun, it's like the light anyway. Yeah, it's lovely. I like the dog bone clamp. It's a nice sort of powder coated affair. That is a nice charge. Nicely proportioned, not too fat. Nice short tower. Very nice. I wouldn't swap it for my thrusty, but it's a lot more comfortable than my thrusty, I must admit. Filtering was a doddle, light and manoeuvrable. I went around a car quite simply. Oh. Oh. Doesn't feel quite as light as the Thruxton, but it feels better handling than the T120, which is saying something, because it's, what, 15 kilograms heavier than the T120? That's nice. Right, let's see what the revs are like. See, there's people out there who say, oh, I need a rev meter. I need to know what revs I'm doing. Well, no you don't. You can feel it and you get used to it. The old classic Bonneville and Thruxton didn't have a rev meter. Rev counter, sorry. And it wasn't exactly difficult to work out where the sweet spot was to change gear. You just sort of got on with it. Anyway, it depends on the style of bike, let's put it that way. No, it is a fun bike and it looks, in my opinion, it looks lovely. I'm not going to get into the conversation about whether it can be a bobber or not, because a bobber traditionally was a self-styled, chopped-down version, so by definition you can't have a factory custom bobber. I won't get into that conversation. All I'm going to say is, looking at this bike, if you don't have a garage, you don't have the skills or the tools or the time to make your own bobber, and you like the chopped down look with the floating seat and the hardtail look, but with very good handling and comfort, then this might be the bike for you. Okay? But this is my review of the Triumph Bonneville bobber. I hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions, comments, please ask it below. And I'll add in a few statistics at the end. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Captain Rambunctious. Tally Bally Ho! Bye! Ha ha ha! This has got almost the street triple fun factor. It just wants to play. I like it. And you can hoon on it. It's got enough performance to do it. It's tuned for grunt, so you can't really do more than 80 miles an hour on public roads without upsetting somebody. And this is just good fun. And you've got countryside. And it's just a doddle. I'm not even thinking about riding. I probably should be. In conclusion, if this is the sort of bike you're after, bloody buy it. Can't fault it at all, apart from the corrosion of the engine cases. I'll throw that caveat in, Triumph. Listen up. Yes, it doesn't happen to all bikes, but it happens to an awful lot of them. So sort your life out and give me new engine cases. I've decided that this is a bit of a hooligan bike. It's very good fun. If you like this bike, this is very good fun. It's got all the performance you could want from this sort of position. Oh, love it. I really like this bike. Yeah, it's 2 degrees outside and I'm still alive. Woohoo! Go. Right. Oh. Right, well after all that ragging about, I'm bringing it home with an average of 45 miles to the gallon. There you go. That's not bad. I haven't exactly hung around, have I?